Hi, this is Tom Freeman. I'm back again with a new video. This one's going to be mostly on diet. And for brain tumors, it's generally kind of accepted that they feed off sugar. So you're supposed to start a very kind of restricted, I do restricted keto diet where it's low calorie, low protein, because protein can also be turned into sugar if you have too much of it. And which for keto, I'll explain later, but it's kind of weird to have it low protein. It's not actually that low, but it's restricted amount of protein, so you have to kind of find ways to fit that in, and also very restricted carbs. I'll show you. Basically, they give us. My nutritionist gave me a macro, and that's numbers to kind of match up to every single day in your diet, and I did it very strictly while I was on disability. I'm back at work now, but I did it very strictly, um, and I'm trained to kind of still eat the same, so I'm still losing weight. I was at 235 or over when I started. Now I'm at 164 today, so that's I guess a 60 pound difference. First, before I tell you my macros, I'll kind of explain the diet approach. Is that the brain tumor will feed on sugar, so you have to restrict the sugar, and if you restrict the sugar enough to where you go into ketosis, you'll those ketones will help you fighting the tumor. It can even strengthen the other parts of the brain that'll kind of fight the tumor. And this philosophy was kind of based on research by Thomas Seyfried. Um, I don't agree with everything he says, but I think the general, idea is that if you extremely restrict yourself, like as shown with lab rats, where they are extremely restricted on calories, you can reverse brain tumors and or just completely slow them down or kill them. But it's extremely hard to do with his suggested diet. This is kind of based on his diet, but it allows room to like not be starving all the time, which it's a balance because you want to have quality of life, you want to enjoy yourself, but also you want to keep the cancer at bay. So I'll explain what I've been doing, and I've been in ketosis for a while, and my macros are 1,800 calories, so that's not too much, especially when I was at 235 plus. And then I was I'm doing 20 grams gross carbs, which you can't subtract the fiber or sugar alcohols. You have to just consider the carb amount, the exact carb amount. You can't do the net carbs that you normally can do in some diets. And then there's the final macro of 70 grams protein. And so that one actually, like most people think the carbs or the calories would be the limiting factor in my diet when I was very restricted. Actually, the protein is the hardest to reach and was usually my limiting factor. I would have calories left over, and I would have some carbs left over, but protein's in everything. It's in vegetables. It's in some vegetables, in large amounts, and it's in meat. It'll just add 70 grams adds up so quick. Okay, so I was distracted by the notifications, but I'm gonna try again here. So the protein was a limiting requirement. I had to really restrict protein. Like I had to eat a very small amount of steak. Like one night, I was frustrated with the amount of steak I could eat. Um, And but you know, you get through it. And also you just have to that actually really keeps you on the diet, where I can't even meet my calorie or fat quota. You have to drink oils, basically. MCT oil is the most popular because that has ketones in it, and is good for you in general. That was tough for me to do, but that's the best way to meet your calorie amount, and protein or and carb amount. But I didn't like doing that. If you don't meet those, you just lose more fat, which I figured I'll just, do that. But yeah, so generally my diet was pretty restricted at the beginning. Like I said, 1800 cal, 20 carbs, gross. Now it's more of a kind of a cross between gross and net. I kind of have a less restricted diet, but it's pretty much at the same amount. And then 70 grams protein. I'm not sticking to that exactly, but I still know what I ate before, so I generally have smaller portions. Um, because as I was trying to explain before, is if you have too many grams of protein, that protein will turn into a different type of sugar. I forgot the exact chemical name. There's one of them's, oh, I won't even try. But if you eat too much protein, even in a keto diet where you feel like you're avoiding sugar, you will that will turn to sugar that your brain will have access to. Your brain tumor will have access to, and the goal is to basically to starve the tumor of sugar, and increase the ketones that are going to the tumor, which is supposed to fight it pretty well. Um, so that was my diet. I mean, general, keto in general is, a lot of meat, a lot of low carb vegetables like lettuce, leafy green vegetables, spinach, no sugar at all, basically. I mean, the amount of carbs, the 20-gram carb, that could be, a single serving of macaroni and cheese. That would be, I mean, that would be well over in the macaroni and cheese, or a couple chips. So you're extremely restricted by the carbs. I was able to get used to that right off the bat. I'm sure that's hard for a lot of people. It didn't hurt that like my medicine as I started I was still on some steroids after the brain tumor surgery, and that kind of helped me. I didn't have as much hunger at that point while I was getting used to the diet. Didn't feel as hungry. I still am able to keep it up where I barely have 20 carbs a day. I have a really, not a strict diet, but I have a kind of a daily, I usually do this, a daily routine where I'll have like 3 sausages that are like 300 calories and like 3 grams of carbs. And then I'll have a yogurt that's made with stevia. Too Good is the brand, and that has very low calories, and very low carbs. All the other, even Greek yogurt, has way too many carbs for my diet. So Too Good is the only one I could find. Um, and then I don't eat a lot of the keto branded foods. I kind of avoid those because actually those have a lot of carbs usually, and they keep you away from some of the other bad stuff. But for my low carb, my restricted keto, I just can't eat a lot of those. Or if I do, it has to be in very small amounts. Like sometimes I'll have this diabetic granola that I put on top of my yogurt, Diabetic Kitchen's granola, but I can only have a sprinkle of it because the carbs in that are pretty high. So then, so after my, let me see, sausages and yogurt, I'll be having coffee. I'll have coffee before the sausages, and then I'll have coffee after the yogurt, like a latte after the yogurt. I have to use half and half in the latte, to keep the calories and carbs down. And then I try to have whole cream in my morning coffee, which is the highest fat, lowest carb version. Sometimes I have half and half, but it's best to have whole cream. and that'll keep your carbs down on your coffee. But that coffee also helps you with the hunger urges. And then usually I'm okay until dinner. And then if I stay to that strict um, uh, routine of sausages and yogurt, I have plenty of room for kind of a big dinner. And I'll also have room for snacks if I need throughout the day, like some nuts or some, pickles, things like that. I have plenty of room. Okay, now I've turned on airplane mode, and I'm trying to avoid notifications for superfluous topics while I'm trying to record this video. Go back to the diet. So if I stick to the routine, um, and I'm strict during the day, I can have a pretty big dinner. So I think it's like 400 calories for everything I ate already. So, or maybe a little more, but then I have like, 1,200, 1,300 calories to work with. I have plenty of room in my carbs, like 12 carbs. I have plenty of room in protein. The yogurt has some protein, but I still have plenty of room. So I'm able to eat like a pretty healthy, normal dinner, um, or have snacks, too, which is great. Um, so yeah, that gives me plenty of room for the rest of the day if I kind of stick to that routine. So sometimes I don't, and then I have to just kind of, improvise throughout the day, and try to cut back on my dinner or something like that. But I usually am not a big fan of big breakfasts. I'll just have some coffee. But if you're different, you just have a bigger breakfast and then cut back later in the day, which is harder for me, but for some people, I'm sure that would work fine. Um, so, like I said, the benefits are to starve the tumor. You really want to, based on the philosophy of trying to get, they did a lot of studies on lab rats where if they kind of starved the lab rats on a heavy keto restricted diet, the tumors would dissolve or reverse many times. There's many questions about this research, and also it's never been performed on humans because it's too hard to get a bunch of humans that just were diagnosed with brain tumors together at the same time to do like a big study. That's a big problem with brain tumor research in general. Is human trials are difficult to get numbers for and statistics for. But yeah, that's I'm still doing it. I mean, just because I feel a lot better in general, I think it's healthier. I was at a very unhealthy weight. Now I have less problems to deal with. I now don't have to take blood pressure medicine, which I was before. Now don't have to take heartburn medicine, which I used to. I used to take it daily. All these medicines I got rid of. There was 2 blood pressure medicines, got rid of them both. Now I have normal blood pressure. And yeah, no heartburn. I feel a lot better. And so that's reason alone, but also, I mean, like the philosophy behind it though is to starve the tumor and to try to fight the tumor. So I would recommend doing a diet as the basis of fighting cancer, especially brain cancer. It works, it works differently for different types of cancers. Do your own research. Talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a patient, and but I'm doing extreme or reduced keto, restricted keto for my disease, and I think it works. I think it works well for many reasons, and I would suggest looking into that as a major part of you fighting cancer or one of your family or friends fighting cancer. Um, it's a good way to go, but it depends on the cancer. So do your own research. And thanks a lot for watching this video.